Welcome to another episode of the Roads and Infrastructure Podcast. I'm your host, Tom O'Keen, and I'm very lucky to be joined today by Peter Ali, the CEO of Municipal Works Australia. Welcome to the show, Peter.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks.
No worries at all. First of all, I wanted to start with, who the MWA actually is.
Yeah.
You've obviously been in the magazine for quite some time, but obviously there's a lot of organisations in the sector that work around councils and whatnot. So could you just touch on, what your organisation does?
Yeah, so we're a non-for-profit industry association. Our members are the people in the companies that work in municipal works. So municipal works, put simply, council depots. I guess when we talk council depots, you think people on shovels, people on brooms. Yes, they are our members, but it's a sophisticated industry now. We have managers, directors. The skill set involved in managing big work teams is more within the pure management. So our offering extends beyond traditional to a broad audience of people that working in councils and servicing community.
Yeah. And again, the scope of what you guys do is actually massive. Like you've got obviously the events and then advocacy as well. I know that's an important piece. Again, for readers of the magazine and listeners of the podcast, they work a lot with councils because obviously councils manage, I think it's in excess of 70% or something of the nation's roads, which is obviously significant. Can you touch on, from a council's perspective, just what their responsibilities are in terms of managing transport infrastructure?
Yeah, well, it's transport infrastructure, but it's community infrastructure that spreads outside just roads, footpaths. So in our space, it's also waste collection, environmental management services, facilities management, councils, leisure centres, community centres, kindergartens. They're all in council-owned assets. There's the fleet and all the support services that go along with maintaining roads and picking up bins, which is a huge area too. Then there's the higher level sophistication stuff with asset management plans and computer systems that help provide services. So it is a very complex and big area.
Yeah. And those services obviously are across every council in Australia. But I think something we were touching on off mic was obviously the new event that you guys have come up in Queensland, which we can touch on a little bit later. But can you touch on, how maybe, even though the services are the same nationally, there might be slight sort of differences between the regions, I guess. So, for example, a council in Queensland or a council in Victoria, what are some of the differences, that you hear from members in terms of their regionality, I guess?
Look, it's a good point, Tom. It varies from state to state and it varies within state.
Yeah.
No two councils are the same. You have urban councils that have urban responsibilities. You have rural and regional councils that have, just different drivers, different access to resources, different communities that they're servicing with different needs.
Yeah.
From state to state, so councils are established under state government legislation. The legislation can be slightly different in each state, but also the nature and the approach to the development of councils is different. For example, in Tasmania, there's 29 councils servicing a population of about 500,000. So, small and medium-sized entities. Their drivers and their needs from us as an association are very different from, say, Queensland, where you have Brisbane City Council, the biggest council in the country, and other major councils, as it's poles apart.
Yeah.
So the needs and the services provided by councils internally to their staff are different, which means that the services we provide to supplement what's getting provided in-house by those councils to those people needs to be different. And, we're cognizant of that. So we nuance our events and our programs based on those differences. What other part of our membership base, of course, is our corporate members. So they're the companies and the people working in those companies that service councils too. And that's big. And that's also an amazing resource for us, Tom, because our whole existence is around information flow, letting people know what the best way to service communities are, new technologies, new approaches.
Mm.
So it works both ways. Local government members, we provide access to that information via our corporate members, but equally, our corporate members want to really know what the touch points are from a service perspective, what's going on, and how they can nuance their service delivery to better service local government. So that's our space, and that's what we do, and it's a very nice area to work in because it's very positive.
Yeah. That especially with the conference that you guys have in Bendigo, I think that's something that really shines through is that these are common issues and challenges. All the councils are sort of coming together and working out, right, well, whether it's, funding or I guess project delivery, there's a few challenges. Can you maybe just outline, I guess, some common challenges that you hear? Again, because a lot of our listeners are the companies that will be servicing councils with road construction, maintenance,
Yeah.
subcontracting, rather, and whatnot. So yeah, can you just touch on some of the challenges that your members face?
Challenges are that they're, I mean, you'd have to be pretty naive to think that there's challenges with Victorian roads at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, it's become political, it's in the political sphere.
Yeah.
So our people are probably people on the front line of that. They're required to provide the solutions to that. Funding's always an issue.
Yeah.
And at a high level, I think the challenge is that we've got the people, whether they're working in local government or they're companies that provide these services that can provide the solutions. But before they can commit, they need to know that there is funding there, that it's going to be long term. They'll mobilise and they'll get it right. So I think what we're seeing in some jurisdictions is that a lot of work has to be done. It transcends just potholes.
Yeah.
Potholes are the Band-Aid. We're beyond potholes, fixing potholes. We need to do it, but it's only short term. So there needs to be a big spend, a big push to get the asset back up to a stage where you can just focus on the potholes because the bigger stuff's getting done. And that's a lot of work. And you can't just click your fingers and say, okay, here's the money, go and do it. There needs to be a bit of a runway there so people can get the right skill sets, the right infrastructure, the right plant equipment, and then it can all happen.
Yeah. And we touched on some of the challenges, but I think the solutions are sort of growing to meet that, I guess, growing demand. Specifically technology. I know obviously AI is a topic that's worth a podcast in itself to touch on, but can you touch on some of those solutions that are being discussed and what you're hearing from members and just what's ultimately letting councils achieve more, I guess, with less?
Yeah, look, there are a lot of solutions, but it's getting the right solution for your context. So we create forums where a range of solutions are put on the table. So Bendigo, for example, we're on a full conference session there. There's technical talks, so we'll get some speakers to talk on new approaches, new solutions. But the great thing about Bendigo, Tom, and you've been there and seen this, is that big trade floor.
Yeah.
People get some ideas through the talks, but then they go walk the floor and they talk to experts and they can unpack the specifics of their problems in their councils, given their context, and come up with tailored solutions. Some of that solution might be changes to in-house practices. Others might be getting access to outside skills and experiences that council officers didn't know existed.
Yeah.
But they find out at that. So that's where efficiencies happen. And that's why our events, and particularly our face-to-face events, are growing and are so well received, I think, because everyone learns in different ways. As you know, we're on the webinar series, and that works for a lot of our membership base. But for others, it's these face-to-face events where they can interact with their colleagues at other councils, but with people that spend their whole lives, our corporate members, thinking about these things, trialing these things, developing these things, and rolling these things out on scale.
Yeah. And you highlighted the trade floor component, but equally important is, I think, the conferencing section. One thing that you guys really hit on well, I think, is the importance of the next generation. I know that you frequently sort of feature younger leaders that are part of the association in a capacity of membership. But yeah, can you, I guess, explain, why that's such a big focus and why the next generation is so important in linking that knowledge exchange, etc.?
We identified probably three or 4 years ago that our membership base was aging, that we weren't really engaging or recruiting the next level of industry professionals that were coming through. So our solution to that was to tap some of our biggest stakeholders on the shoulder, both from local government and industry, and ask them who were their people. If they could pick one, who was that person that was they saw that was going to progress and be the next leadership person in their field.
Yeah.
And we got those people and we put them in a room and got them to work it all out. Set them the challenge that we've done a bad job engaging the next generation. But here's a 3-hour block at the conference that's all yours. Come up with a program, come up with whatever you want to come up with. We'll resource it, we'll advertise it, we'll market it. As it played out, we didn't have to market anything because they were so well versed in had such great networks and so well versed in communicating with their peers that it just happened. Now, the proof of the pudding on how successful that was is that 2 of those members are now on our board.
Yeah, wow.
Sheridan Kilner from Interwork and Ruby Lewis from Fulton Hogan.
Yeah.
They're board members now. They've gone that whole thing. And it's part of our ethos that there are no limits to people's capacity and are no limits to young people's capacity. We actively engage them and give them opportunities to do their thing. Gone are the days where you should be expected to do 10 years of your time.
Yeah.
Learning the ropes before you're given full reins of the horse, so to speak. So that's part of our DNA, and it's great.
Yeah.
It provides so much energy and so many new ideas and new ways of doing things. So it's a great environment to be in.
Yeah, I guess that those members being part of the board, that's probably really helped you guys to evolve as an association, but also I think it reflects the industry. And you mentioned there about new solutions and new concepts and the importance of that. Have you sort of seen, I guess, throughout your tenure as the CEO, that impact really shine through, whether that's through councils or, like you said, the growth of maybe your own members or your events?
Yeah. Look, I think I know when you're getting it right when you're building your membership back. More people are buying in. And, membership's a funny thing. You can have a lot of members on paper, but how engaged are they? So we look at engagement, which is extremely high.
Yeah.
We look at membership growth, which is extremely high. And then we look at retention, membership retention. We don't lose any members. So this growth thing is really occurring. Now, there was a lot of opportunity for growth for us because I don't think what we offer is a no-brainer. But what was holding us back is not a lot of people knew what we did or why we did it. Our relationship with roads and infrastructure significantly helped that. Has really
Friends
helped
of the
that.
show, roads and infrastructure, obviously.
Well,
but
look,
yeah.
it's when you're a small association,
Hmm.
you need to engage professionals. It's no use trying to reinvent it. I think we talked about it, Tom. We had our own magazine, and I thought, well, what are we wasting our time for? There's people like yourself that can put together magazines and get that messaging out there for us. Why are we wasting resources doing that when you do it better? But I guess the other thing with associations, Tom, is yeah, it's partnership stuff. You need to partner, and you need to partner with the right people. We've partnered with you. We've got some other significant partners who we can get in and scale up that relationship as needed. That's within the, like the social media space. It's within the graphic design space where we've got some freelancers that help us and have really helped develop our visual style. And yeah, it's very rewarding space to be in because you're working with some experts in those fields. And I've talked about the young people and their ideas. Event management. A really good event management company that's come in to help us as we've grown, as the events get bigger. That's MSC Events, and
Partnership's important, but that self-drive that you guys have is equally important, though. I think obviously like your skill in identifying potentially new areas that you can grow in as an organisation. I think we might touch on, I guess, the Queensland conference that you've got going up. So maybe if you could just explain, I guess, what opportunity MWA identified there and what's led to that.
Yeah, so the history of MWA is that every state had their own works association. In Victoria, it was called the Municipal Works Operations Association, and that's my involvement. That's when I was a local government works manager, and they dragged me onto the conference organising in the early days of, well, before it was at Bendigo, it was we had it at Ballarat and three venues, and then we went to Bendigo. So I was on this conference organising committee for that event. So it was all state-based stuff, and you struggle as a state, but there's no economy of scale. It's all volunteer stuff. We were the only state, Victoria, that could employ a full-time employee to help administer and manage. The others were just doing it through volunteers. So then we joined, just before COVID with Tassie and Queensland, and created a national governance structure and created Municipal Works Australia. But we know that for it to work, the face-to-face thing, Victoria really works at Bendigo. So that focus event where everyone can get together in the same room. Now we do other things, webinars and there's online trainings, but that's our DNA, as you know, Tom, those face-to-face events. To get traction and proper traction in other states, we knew we needed these big events. Now we've done that really well in Tasmania, where we go north and south and have an event. Queensland, being different in terms of local government structures, it's hard for us to engage those councils. They're so big. Mm-hmm. You can't just knock on depot doors like we've done in Tassie. We needed the event. So there was an event that was serviced the local government market really well. It was called LoGov. It was last run 15 years ago, but when you talk to the local government people up there, the works people, either the council or the companies that service the industry, they all remember LoGov. They liked LoGov.
Yeah.
So Brian Weeks, who's a board member of ours, he works at Quilpie Council, and Gavin Gotke at Scenic Rim, board members, he's at Scenic Rim, said, well, look, why don't we have a new event based on the LoGov model? And so we said, well, why don't we just call it LoGov? Make it easy to explain. So LoGov is a get-together, picture an agricultural field day type feel, where companies that service the local government market can get a space of turf on a big venue and set up a marquee, set up the service offerings. Companies like Komatsu will get there with all their equipment And we invite local government people to come and walk through and learn.
Yeah.
Different style to Bendigo, but the same concept.
I guess there's
Let them talk.
aspects of that in Bendigo with the machinery outside, because that's another
Yep.
thing that's really sort of, I think, invigorated that event, was the addition of that external perspective. To sort of go off track a little bit,
Yeah.
you mentioned obviously the training services that you
Yeah.
guys provide. One thing I think that's really topical at the moment is the importance of upskilling.
Yeah.
Not only just in the council field, but obviously wider infrastructure with, you know, the mega pipeline that we've got coming up, the lack of skilled personnel that are currently in the industry to tackle that pipeline. Can you touch on, I guess, specifically in the council field,
Yeah.
what you're seeing in terms of that need for upskilling, not only people who are existing already in the industry, but also trying to get new people and train them in as they enter the sector?
Look, yeah, Tom, there's never there have been formal courses that have come and gone.
Yeah.
Certificate 3 and Certificate 4 in local government civil infrastructure. In the past, those courses have kind of done well.
Yeah.
But we just noticed, over the last 4 or 5 years that there's been a change. The market's much more fluid, so people are moving around. Councils probably more reluctant to significantly invest in that level of development, formal training, given that in a lot of cases those people then just move on. And a shift from me as an employer needing to train you to, no, you take ownership in your own training and professional development. And we'll provide you with the rewards if you do that through promotion. So we get all that. So our training offering has gone away from encouraging formal to we'll provide you the opportunity to learn, which will benefit your jobs. And we offer a range of things. There's some online training. We had a partnership with a leadership training. So we developed a local government leadership training course. We saw that was a need, but it was very specific to local government. Now we're about to launch, I think, which is something that will be extremely significant in that space, and that's a mentoring program, because we've got some of the most experienced and skilled people in the industry, and we've got these new, young and emerging who'll be tomorrow's leaders. So that gets launched in the coming weeks, and I think that's just going to be, because we've field tested it, we've asked around, no shortage of mentors. People that are doing the mentoring do it because they want to give back. They've benefited their careers from having a mentor.
Yeah.
Now they want to give back. And when I mention it at a field day to some people that I know will go far in the industry if they hang around in the industry, and I think they will hang around if they have proper mentors.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a cyclic thing. They're really keen about it. And so I think we're going to have some amazing case studies. We'll probably run some in roads and infrastructure at some point, Tom, because I think that'll be really interesting.
Is there any, just out of interest, changes? I know we don't want to be too critical of government or whatnot, but what are, I guess, the main goals or objectives for MWA in terms of influencing change, and what particular changes do you think could help to, I guess, loosen the shackles a little bit on councils who are struggling with funding and so many multidisciplines, etc.?
I think, so the advocacy space is an interesting space because we represent the industry and then local government and everything. We look for issues that are commonly affect both those.
Yeah.
Because we need to advocate for issues that are relevant to all our members.
Yeah.
The number one, if I say what the number one is this area of procurement and getting that right and getting rid of the red tape in there. Because if we get this pipeline of work, road, whatever it's going to be, the less bureaucratic, the less energy that's sucked up by process, the more efficient we'll be able to roll out services and deliver on ground in a quicker time.
Yeah.
So the solution to that, we know we've got the right people in the room. We've got the people that tender on these things, and then we've got the people that use these things, these procurement arrangements. Mm. So I think we've got the skill set to come up with some really progressive models that work on ground. Now, we know that you need lawyers and you need procurement experts to make sure the governance is all right.
Yeah.
That's fine. We're not going to buy into that. But the nature of the contracts and how they work and how they're structured to allow for efficient delivery and efficient use is what we'll focus on, and we'll be providing advice to the people that want it on how that can work best.
And then this is quite big picture, but I guess what excites you the most moving forward, whether that's from an MWA perspective or even bigger picture and just the council space overall?
Look, what excites me the most is that we see, because I've worked in local government all my life. I was a works manager. I worked City Whittlesea for 20 years. That was my career, right? And I see this emerging understanding and acknowledgement of people within the workspace as being critical to the way communities function. When I was working at councils did the best they can to promote that, the benefits that they put. But it was hard because you're only a council. Now I'm in a position, me and our board, that we're a national association. We're getting recognised as the people for municipal works. Mm. And it's really exciting times for us to highlight that and elevate people, communities' perceptions of the importance of the work and the great work and the smart thinking that goes into servicing infrastructure in local government. And the other people that don't get any sort of recognition in that are the people that are managing big companies that are servicing infrastructure. They're very switched on people. And I guess you think, well, no, they're profit driven, and they're not. Yes, they have to turn a profit for their company. But the ones I've met, the ones that are members of ours, are still driven by that need to serve community or that desire to serve community. They're very community orientated. Hence they're members of ours. Hence they offer their skills and personnel for free to us to help our cause.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Great. I look forward to learning more. I think readers will as well in terms of the magazine and the podcast and the great work that you're doing, and looking forward to attending some of those events, not to mention Bendigo next year. But thanks so much for joining us today, Peter. It's been fantastic.
Tom. Thank you.
If you want to learn more about the great work that Municipal Works Australia have been doing, make sure to check out Roads Infrastructure Magazine and Roads Online, and we'll see you on the next episode of the podcast. Bye for now.